All right, J-Bro's popping in. We're gonna get after this oil change. Should be pretty easy. The one thing that I have to do that the other rig does not have is we have no drain line hooked up to the Rato engine here. So there's a drain plug right here, and there's a drain plug which I rerouted these hydraulic fluids to. You'll see the plug right there on the side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook up off of that drain plug, I'm gonna hook up a hose so I can get this out here, because what it's supposed to have is on the CRT23, this is the drain plug right here, which then, let me move some of this stuff out of the way, it's dirty in here a little bit. See, there's the outside drain hose right there, and that runs up here, and you can kind of see right to that spigot there. So I gotta get that adapter out. Let's just see quick. Actually, what we can probably do is I can probably rig something up from there with a hose, and I could run it out to the side of here. Or I could just run a hose out and keep it loose. Well, no matter what, I need to get a hose hooked up to here. I'm gonna track down that size of nut and bolt for your information, and then get the attachment that goes on there to hook a hose to that, probably a hose of this size here, so we can just get it to funnel out here. I'll get on that and get back to you, but this is what we're on to right now. Okay, this is taking a little bit longer than I wanted to. I basically had to get that nut out of there, and this is basically a 12 mil fine thread nut, or bolt, excuse me. Anyway, so what I ended up doing, because obviously how do you get in there to get the oil drained out, and I didn't know the size of this, so I was gonna make something up. Well, what I'll end up doing for you guys is I'll link in the description down below what bolt you need to go in there, then what tube attachment can go on there. That way you can just pull it out and out here. So what I ended up doing is rigging this up. This piece of metal, I don't recommend you doing this because it was just kind of messy. I slipped this piece of metal in here and created like a ramp from there to here, because yeah, I just didn't know what thread it was. But anyway, the oil's all drained out. I'm gonna put this back in, and yeah, we'll go from there. And on this one here, you know, being the filter is new, I'm probably just gonna leave the filter in on this one. I don't really see the need for it. I'm hoping with all the new oil that I put in, the oil actually didn't even look that bad. When I was sinking it, when I was checking on the dipstick, it's actually a little bit more, got a little bit more of a viscosity than I had thought, you know. But that being said, you'd still want to change the oil and whatnot. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the filter still, drain the old oil out of there if it's not all out of there right now, top that off with new oil, and then go ahead to get this filled back up. But yeah, I'm gonna put in the description down below which fitting and hose you can get on there, so you can just have your hose come out here, and yeah, you just don't have to go through all this mess. Yeah, and just a reminder on that bolt, it's a 12 mil 1.5 fine thread, but like I said, I will put that in the description down below. All right, I can't believe taking off this filter. I'll show you this here. I had to absolutely reef on this dang oil filter to get it out. And remember, it is righty-tighty and lefty-loosey. And oh my God, I thought I can't be going the wrong way. But this thing, they obviously didn't put no oil on the ring when it was put on, because there's no way that they had filled this up with oil and then put oil around here, because that thing was just an absolute bear cat to get off there. I actually had this clamp on there along with a channel lock so I could get the extra leverage of that longer channel lock. Oh my God, I don't know. But just remember, it is super easy to do it if it's not just absolutely cranked down anyway. So there's the filter there, the used one. That's going in the garbage. I'm going to take and get my new filter. I'm going to drop a little bit of oil in that. And then, of course, I'm going to put a little oil around the rubber ring so it's not dry fit on there. But yeah, I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll get into the filling stage here. So yeah, going pretty good, other than that was on there just ridiculously tight.
Okay, I got a little bit of oil here. I dump some in the filter. Don't need much. And then I'm just going to dump a little on the edge here so I can, oops, a little more than I wanted. Just going to take my finger, run that around the seal. Nothing splashy. Alrighty. Now always just make sure you got some towels on hand. Right, and it's actually a pretty easy reach down here. Let's see if I can't get you up in this vicinity. Not that you guys don't kind of know what I'm doing here anyway. There we go. And just like this. I kind of like to get on here. Like I said, I can't stress enough about cutting down a little plastic container. Like I said, a Cascade or whatever that is for a dishwasher works really good. Get this right up in there. There we go. Come on. Alrighty. Okay, you see that? Just hand tight. That's all it needs to be, because all you're looking is for a little compression between the ring and the housing. All right, I'm going to pull this out of here. Like I said, this is the little container that I cut the lid off of. Works freaking great for kind of getting all tight spots. All right, we're going to get set up and start pouring some oil in here. Then the fill cap would be right here. Unfortunately, that is not absolutely cranked down. Get that removed. And then on the manual, it says 1.6 liters of oil. I'm going to grab my funnel. And obviously this is pretty trivial, but what I just like to do, 1.6 liters. If anything, we'd like to be a little bit light. Because I really don't want to have to drain it again. But if I have to drain it, it's not that big of a deal. But I've already got this old jug labeled. There's 3.78 liters in here. And we'll just say this is full. That's where this is at right here. We'll say this is the full on there. And basically I had it marked at 2.5. I'm actually going to take this up a little bit to there and then to here. So that way, this is this fill this time, this is the next fill the next time, this is the next fill that time. So we're kind of in the vicinity of what we need to know when we're filling and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll get this over to the filling station, but just a good practice, mark your jug so you know where you're at, because 1.6 there, a little bit higher than 2.5, you know, pretty straightforward. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this rolling. And this is a funnel I like to use. Guy at Mini Skid Upgrades, he actually sells a funnel that's made a little bit, well, actually more designed exactly for getting in here. It's kind of a neat little filter, but being I've already got this flexible one, I just use this rather than buying another one. And then I just hold it there. And like I said, I've already got the mark. Okay. And you could just see the quality of this oil versus what was in there. And I know one gentleman might have mentioned that there was a reasoning behind possibly kind of that vegetable oil type in there to initially run it. I don't know if I gotta put this more expensive stuff in here, run it for 8 hours, check the oil. If I notice anything and I gotta change it again, I'll just change it. But I can't believe that just putting better oil in it is not the right way to go from the get-go. Oh, this is draining. I'm going to back you up a little bit. Okay, that's got to be pretty close here. Because what I kind of figured in this spout, it takes about 3/4 of a liter each pour. So usually about 3 pours, I'm done. And of course, the oil out here in the shop is probably around that. I think it got in here like 52, 54 last night. So it's not super warm. So it's not going to flow real fast. But I'm in no rush. So and this is probably going to be about, well, I'm going to be a little bit light. I'm probably putting in about 1.4 and a half. Because like I said, I really don't want to overfill it. And plus we're going to lose, I mean, I did fill up the filter a little bit. So we're not going to lose any oil into there. So we're about right there. And you'll know if you overfilled it because after the oil all settles down, if you see white smoke kick out the side, that just means the oil is overfilling because you're basically getting oil in with your gas and pistons and stuff, and then yeah, it just starts burning oil. Right, I'm gonna double check my mark here. You know, I am going to dump just a sliver more in there because I'm still not to my line yet. I think we'll just be good right there. Yep, I'm okay with that. We'll let that run in there. Okay. And you always got to make sure you have towels all around, because you just want to keep the oil and stuff to a minimum. I'm just gonna let that sit right there. Put my oil stuff away. I'll get cleaned up here and let that settle for a bit, and we'll fire it up. We're gonna go ahead and check the dipstick here, which is just right behind the muffler here. Kind of in a little sneaky spot, but once you do it a bunch of times, it's not terrible. And what we're looking for, it's got wiped off. Go. Actually, it almost appears it's a little low. I see it down there, but I don't see it up there. I'll try that one more time just to make sure I didn't knock any off. Like I said, I wanted to be, if anything, more on the low side. Obviously, you don't want to run the engine with low oil, but it's easier to add at this stage than it is to take out. Yep, we're just a little low. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more oil. And okay, I probably added about another quarter liter, so let's go ahead and get this pulled out of here. Can't really see it, but it's right in the middle of the high-low, and that's where we like to see it. Oil's so clean you can hardly see it on there. So I'm okay with that. Just back in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it, being I just filled it, I'm going to do a kind of a quick wipe down around in the machine here. And then I'm going to let that oil settle for about 5-10 minutes while I do some wipe down, and then I'll give it a fire up. All right, oil's all changed up, should be ready to go. And we'll be kind of looking at the exhaust here and see if any white smoke comes out, stuff like that. We'll do a 3/4 choke here. Just like that. Well, I would say that's a success. I didn't see any leaks down here from the oil filter at all. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on it as time goes along, but that's one of the major steps into getting this running phenomenal. Like I mentioned before, we're good on oil. I'll check that here after a bit, just a double, triple check. I like to be cautious. But yeah, I would say at this point, I'm going to run the magnet down into the hydraulics and check the filter there. And other than that, this rig is ready to be field tested. I'll probably swap over to the 4-in-1 bucket and go from there. But yeah, don't hesitate to do that early maintenance. It's huge. It's huge for the life of your machine. Learn from my mistakes. And yeah, happy skidding out there. But MX-CRT23, this girl's ready to rock. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. J Bros out.